Good morning, Aurora. Good morning, Aurora. Good morning, Aurora. The time is 9:01 a.m. and you are listening to and watching Good Morning, Aurora, the second largest city's first daily news podcast. Today, we are excited to welcome Abbot Joel Rippinger of Marmion Academy here onto the program. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Curtis.
Good to see you today. So we have a lot to talk about. Before we get started, I wanted to say thank you very much for coming on to the program today. Talk to the folks about so many great and amazing things that Marmion has done. We'll be talking about the history of Marmion here in Aurora and talking about the big changes coming in 2026.
Okay.
So before we get into all that, how do you feel this morning?
I am feeling very good.
Good, very good, very glad. Now, Marmion, and we will put the website in the link in the description of this video, a Catholic Benedictine community consisting of the Abbot Academy and Guatemala Mission. How long has Marmion been in Aurora, and what's its presence in history?
So we came to Aurora in 1933, and we were invited to come and actually take over a Catholic school already existing that was run by the Augustinian order, same order as Pope Leo belongs to.
Okay.
They had been here since 1927. By 1933, we're in the midst of the Great Depression. They felt the need to conserve their resources. They were going to move back to Philadelphia. The presence of a lot of Aurora young men who were being educated at an academy in Indiana as resident students, Jasper Academy, was founded by another Benedictine monastery, St. Meinrad Archabbey. St. Meinrad was the founding abbey that has given us Marmion today, and monks from St. Meinrad, who were teachers at this Jasper Academy, decided they would be willing to move to Aurora. They had a resident school and a day school. They came up in 1933 on Lake Street to take over what was known then as the Fox Valley School for Boys. It was renamed Marmion Academy after a Benedictine abbot recently deceased who was known as a great spiritual writer and now is one of the blessed of the Catholic Church. So 1933, we came. We certainly established ourselves as the educators for this all-boys day and residential school. And in the 90-some years since, there have been occasional changes, but it's been a vibrant presence in the Aurora and Fox Valley area.
Absolutely. Yeah, very well known, as you mentioned, and also Marmion Academy does have social media as well, so I encourage everybody to check it out. Check out the Facebook page as well. A lot of great information, and the website too. A lot of great information and history. Now, in 2026, Marmion Academy will become co-ed and introduce the co-ed experience. Let's talk about that and the upcoming changes.
So we have the academy under the governance of the community of monks at Marmion Abbey.
Okay.
And the community of monks have always been involved in the life of the academy. Been most of my life there too as a teacher and various other positions. But the major policy changes that we've made over the years, and there have been some. We were all military ROTC up to the 1990s when we decided to make that an alternative to a leadership program that would be non-ROTC. We had resident and day students up until 2002 when we decided the resident program was no longer something that was going to be included in our ongoing presence, and it was a wise decision that I think was vindicated after the fact. And we were facing a number of new issues. Education is always changing, the demographics that were part of it. And we also have a board of trustees, which gives us counsel. And we took a long look and study. And after a considerable period of time and study, we decided through the Marmion Abbey chapter, which is the decision-making body of the Abbey, that we would decide to go into a coeducational model, as a number of other schools have done.
Sure.
Beginning with the 2026-27 school year. A lot of planning that's involved, but it certainly opens up the wonderful educational opportunities we've had over the years to now young women as well.
That's awesome. That's amazing. The time is 9:05. If you're just joining us, we are here with Abbot Joel Rippinger of Marmion Academy. Now, let's talk about the St. Benedict Brotherhood as a as a whole. Can you tell us about that, or for the person who may be unfamiliar?
Well, the word brotherhood is something become a commonplace term. If you would ask students from our academy 25 years ago, what about the brotherhood? They would have given you a big question mark. It's something that emerged from the students themselves. And to my mind, as a monk, it's of a piece with what we're about. We're built into the notion of community. And I think the brotherhood, especially with an all-male school, had a resonance of a very close bond of real connection with all the people who were part of the school. I think the combination of our spiritual programs, retreats, and our spiritual formation really has been a way of undergirding this notion of real connection, solidarity with one another. And our challenge now is to do the same thing with the young women.
Yes.
So we intend to have some of the same aspects and elements that were the constituent parts of the brotherhood to be involved in the sisterhood of the young women who come in.
As a monk, what is your role?
Well, right now, the role is the superior of the community. The St. Benedict in his rule, and it's interesting, we have someone who wrote a rule in the 6th century, and we're still observing it, at least in part. It was rather remarkable. It's one of those few texts in Western civilization that has held its own. And St. Benedict was a wise and I think very, well, he was ahead of his time in terms of understanding of human character. And he gave some very moderate, some very reasonable principles of how you are to run a community. The abbot is elected by the members of the community,
Okay.
and I'm above all, the spiritual superior, but it also so happens that I'm the chancellor of the school as well. That's the position I have, and I oversee most of the activities of the school. You mentioned our Guatemala presence. We do have a priory in Guatemala. We've been there since 1965.
Wow.
I need to be conversant with them, maintaining that they're keeping up their mode of life in a very different culture and situation.
Certainly.
And we have our Abbey Farms. We have over 300 acres of property on the far northeast side of Aurora, and the Abbey Farms has been a great place where we're able to use our land with Benedictine stewardship to assist and welcome people to come to do everything from cut down Christmas trees to come and go through pumpkin patches and mazes.
That's amazing. That's amazing. What does the Marmion experience provide that certainly it's different from the public school experience, but what makes the Marmion school experience unique in your words?
Well, over the years, if you look with different employers in the Aurora area, they would say they recognize Marmion alumni and students.
Certainly.
There's a confidence of demeanor. There's a certain way in which they exercise, I think, responsibility. And it comes from the character formation that's at the heart of Marmion. We want to develop leaders for the future. Leaders in every respect, people who can head a family, people who can enter religious life, people who can be successful in the best sense of the term. In fact, it's no accident we've had 4 of our alumni have been mayors of Aurora, and they've been very important leaders in the local community. We've had individuals who I think have gone from Marmion to a whole range of different areas of leadership, but they keep with them what they've told us they've learned, which was a certain discipline in terms of intellectual discipline and study, the rigor of our academic program, leadership that they exercise through the junior ROTC or our leadership
Right.
programs, and they put it into the life of the community.
What does the word community mean to you?
It's at the heart of who we are. I mean, I live in a community, have all my life, and I see the benefits of that. I'm not a lone ranger, alpha male, going about my own business. Right. I am someone who's responsible for all the people in the community. Even before I had this particular position as abbot, it's very important. And that's the same thing that we intend to implement with our students, that they have a responsibility when they come into this community.
Right.
They are representatives of Marmion Academy, just as I'm a representative of Marmion Abbey. Whatever I do or say redounds to the status, the well-being of the larger community.
You know, the high school experience for a young person can be kind of daunting, can be kind of challenging, despite what may be going on at home. Having that sense of identity and kind of walking in that purpose every day, going to class, it can be challenging at times. What have you noticed in that personal development, some of those things? I mean, have you been able to see the student who comes in a little timid and then starts to stand up a little bit taller? Have you seen those intimate things, and perhaps have you been able to add that presence or answer those questions that young people have about themselves in this unique experience?
Well, I've been blessed over 50 years being associated with the Academy. I was there when we had a resident school. I was a prefect. I had to watch over groups of 30 to 40 young people 7 days a week, day and night. I taught for 50 years, and that was a wonderfully satisfying job. But also I challenged the students, and I could see when they would come in, the development. I mean, I taught juniors and seniors, and I marveled junior and senior year at how they would go to a different level and also develop incredible friendships along the way.
Sure.
And to my mind, you know, the stresses had never been more prominent, and the way in which we have to deal with those stresses as people who are responsible for their formation is key. But I think we have in place now resources that we never had before, counselors and models. I was a coach too, and I've always believed that coaches have just a vital role to play in being models for students. And over the years, I've been pleased to see how we produce these positive people, from the timid freshman who comes in, kind of what's going to happen to me, to very self-confident and assured people by their senior year.
That's awesome. That's amazing. 9:13 is the time. If you are just joining us, you're watching Good Morning Aurora, the second largest city's first daily news podcast. So we are here with Abbot Joel Rippinger of Marmion Academy. I want to know, and I'd like to find out. Our program began during COVID. What was COVID like for Marmion? Do you remember that? Do you remember, take me to the day before things started to take the turn that they did. What do you recall, and how did it affect Marmion?
It had a profound effect, and I think in many ways it was positive. I was coming back from a pilgrimage to the Holy Land, and because I had been exposed to a possible set of COVID of people, they had to close down for a day before all the rest of the schools closed down because of me. So we had in place, and certainly as a teacher, I really appreciated this, a technological infrastructure where we did a rather seamless transition into providing classes on Zoom that everyone was on board doing. And by comparison with other schools, I was pleasantly surprised and pleased with how our students were very much engaged in that. Wonderful. Not the same thing clearly, but they were engaged. From the point of view of the Abbey, we have people who come each day and each Sunday to our church for Mass, and it was rather numbing. All of a sudden, we had an empty church.
Right.
But we had Mass every day. We had our prayers every day in the church with the community, and that was a wonderful means of showing the importance of community. Right. First of all, we were all gathered together.
Exactly.
Yes. Be there. And I think it was very supportive. And as we finally opened up a little bit after that, there was a little bit of nostalgia for the time when we were all together as one. And for the students, too. I remember teaching when we still had the mask on and all, and I told my students, listen, I'd be willing to wear a suit of armor if I could be back in the classroom, just having people face to face. So it was a very positive experience. We appreciate more than ever the need and the way in which we were prepared for technology.
Right, right, absolutely. What, from the 6th century in terms of character, in terms of guidance, or in terms of things that the viewer or the listener could benefit from? What teachings do you think are still relevant today in 2025 as we get ready to head into 2026?
Well, I think it's a virtuous life. We don't talk a lot about virtue today. For example, St. Benedict in his rule has obedience, silence, and humility, words that are not in common concourse in most areas today, but they really, over the years, I've seen more and more the incredible understanding of human nature and character that underlies development of someone really able to know themselves well, to know the gifts they have received from the Lord, use them for the service of others, and be able to listen to others. Benedict begins his rule with the word listen. And one of the things we try to inculcate in our students and our community is to listen deeply and regularly to the other, especially when the other is someone we're not expecting to encounter. Christ will come to us through them more often than not.
What does God want of me?
Well, I think we have to listen to what others tell us. More often than not, we speak of this element of grace. How do we recognize when grace is coming to our life? We're not the writers. Very popular person today in spiritual life is Bishop Robert Barron, and he talks about how we have an ego drama. We write the script for that, and it's what we intend to do.
Right.
Well, there's a God drama, and that's the script we have to be coming from. And the God drama is usually a script that other people are helping to give us. They're telling us what our gifts are, how we should use them. They're telling us what our limitations are, how they can help us. That's who we need to listen to.
Okay, very. 9:17 is the time if you are just joining us. Good morning to you all. We are here with Abbot Joel Rippinger, Marmion Academy. Now, you went on a pilgrimage to the Holy Land. What was that like?
It was wonderful. I was a student in Rome back in the 1970s, and I had about a week when I went to the Holy Land. Different time in the 1970s, a wonderful experience. I had a 3-month sabbatical, first time I ever had a sabbatical in the period of 2019 to 20. And I just, both my parents had just passed away, and my sister had suggested, you should go on this Holy Land pilgrimage. And I did with my brother, my youngest brother, and some like-minded people. And it was wonderful. Again, being in the places where the Lord had been. And it was right before COVID hit in, so it was a very interesting time. As we were finishing up, we realized what was happening all around us.
Right.
But anyone, I think, who has a background in studying the Bible, to be in those places and to truly enter the pilgrimage and pray and experience it fully, it's a wonderful, wonderful thing.
How can the community get more involved with Marmion or support Marmion or any of its programs? Or
well, people in the past would almost always connect Marmion with the school, and understandably so. We've had a big presence, and through athletics, we've had very successful athletic programs. But today, I think Marmion's outreach is a lot more distinguished and multiple. One of the things, for example, we used to do a lot of assistance at the parishes for sacramental life, saying masses in the area, which was wonderful. You got to know the area. I think today what we're seeing is people are drawn to the community. We have a beautiful church. We have beautiful grounds. A lot of people want to come and be part of that. They come to our high school academy, and they, with open eyes, are saying, this is a high school because it's a large campus, it's a beautiful campus. They would associate it more with a small college. Yeah. And we invite people to enjoy just the beauty of the surroundings. But I think, too, the Abbey Farms, a lot of families come there for our fall pumpkin days and our Christmas tree sales. And we have an emporium where we sell products, too. It's wonderful to have people come out for that. We have our liturgies, Catholic liturgies at the Mass every day, and we have people there. People come for spiritual direction. They want some good guides to get them. One of the things I've done a lot in my last 30 or 40 years is be a spiritual director for people. And they come to the Abbey and they feel that's a wonderful place to be and receive it.
I agree. And as we talked before the cameras came on, I've in my own life, I did have the unique experience to actually have a place like that in our community where folks had that opportunity to come and speak to the Lord. It does have an impact when you don't have any of that in your surrounding areas or your communities, and people do yearn for that. People do want to have that, and I think that I personally feel that the pressures of everyday life, as they continue to go and develop and multiply, there becomes a need for that, and the need does get stronger. Mm-hmm. The need does get stronger. And as we talked about, I really do appreciate your presence on the program today, because I want the people of Aurora and beyond to understand that for us to feel better and live a better life and perhaps produce a better outcome for other people, we should have an inner peace and a healing. It goes a long way. Our presence and how we feel does matter to others, and other people can feel that. So when we're, there's that saying, hurt people hurt people. Yeah. So perhaps people should seek healing whenever they can, kind of thing. I don't mean to ramble, but excuse me, it's 9:22 is the time.
In fact, one of the things too, you talk about place where they can go. We take a vow of stability. We've been in Aurora for over 90 years. We're looking forward to a lot more years, and I think people appreciate both at the Academy and the Abbey, this is a place they knew 30, 50, 60 years ago they can come back. Some of the same people are around. We're doing some of the same things. And it's a sacred space, but it's also a welcome space, and that's what we want to continue.
Right. So, what's next? What's next for you, sir?
Whatever the Lord wants.
9:23 is the time.
People will say, "Well, when do you retire?" I say, "Well, we have a cemetery, and then that's a real retirement." But when we have individuals who are still actively engaged in a lot of things in their 70s and 80s. We have younger people. We like to have even more younger people come in, and we want to pass on the wisdom and the legacy of what we do, and that becomes key. I think the health of a local community needs to have institutions like Marmion around that will give it a certain solidity and an understanding of, okay, these are institutions that do certain things that no one else can do, and we don't do that in some type of proud or arrogant way, but we know this is what the Lord has called us to do. We're blessed. Again, as a native Auroran myself, I'm grateful for my presence here all my life, and I'd like to have that same stability be given to other people who can keep it going.
Wow, you've been a servant of Aurora, truly, and are. Will this be your first time overseeing a co-ed educational institution?
Yes, it will.
Okay.
But again, one of the things I do, avocation as an historian, we've got a lot of models to work with, and we're looking at those models. What works best?
Okay.
Best practices, yes. We know what seems to work, what probably shouldn't be considered as an option, and we're putting those in place.
Okay. Wow, this is going to be exciting. I do recall seeing because I think it was the Beacon News that did an article about it. This might have been over a year ago now, but they said that Marmion making changes to become co-ed in 2026. To be having this conversation now is great. What do you think is the next 10 years look like for Aurora?
Well, it's come a long way, and I think we've put in place, the casino is not too far from where Marmion is now.
Right.
we see a lot of the development.
Right.
I grew up in the area, and it was all farmland, and when I was in grade school, most of my classmates came from farm families. It's completely changed, and I think Benedictines over the centuries, that's why we're still around, have been able to adapt to changes, and we want to adapt to this change. I think Marmion has been, as an academy especially, able to note, okay, what are the emphases we need to have in place to give the best quality education that will gear people for not only a spiritual sound future, but how can they enter that future with the skill set they need to really make an impact.
Who were those 4 mayors who were alumni of Marmion?
So David Pierce was the first in line in terms of, and he was the one that really expanded Aurora to the reach it has today. Jack Hill, if you know about Hill Avenue in Aurora on the east side. And Albert McCoy, again, McCoy Drive is there. And then Tom Weisner, most recently.
Oh, wow. How about that? This episode's been fun with history. And you are an East Sider as well, as am I. So this is amazing. All right. That's going to be a Jeopardy question. So I hope that you guys write that down and don't forget it. Last question. What was St. Benedict's greatest gift to the world?
I think it was just a model of holiness that, we spoke of Thomas More, man for all seasons. I think St. Benedict was not only a monk for all seasons, but a spiritual guide for all seasons. The fact we still use his rule says a lot about how common sense and usable it is today.
Thank you very much for coming on to the program today. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you guys enjoyed this episode of Good Morning Aurora this morning. The link to Marmion will be in the description of this video. Before we wrap up, I want to say a good morning, a thank you, and I hope that you're well to a friend of the show and the program, a friend in life, Marine Corps veteran Joseph Larson. Well, he's still active. So Joseph Larson, his entire family, and the United States Marines, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, hope that you guys enjoyed today's episode. Be blessed. Take care of yourself and each other.